Good Wednesday afternoon, and thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Now let's get to your headlines. Happening right now, crews from across the country are on the ground in northeast Minnesota battling wildfire flames that just keep getting bigger. Hundreds of people in St. Louis and Lake counties being forced from their homes as the flames move up. New today, crews are searching for a person whose cabin was destroyed in the Camp House fire. There are three main fires burning right now. The Jenkins Creek fire near Hoyt Lakes has scorched 20,000 acres of land and is 0% contained. The Camp House fire outside Brimson destroyed some 15,000 acres of land so far and at least 140 structures, including homes and cabins. And the Munger Shaw fire, which is east of Canyon, Minnesota, that fire is getting larger and forcing more people to evacuate. Now, these fires are growing at a very fast rate. Officials battling the flames say it's got everything to do with what's in the path of the flames.
Usually when it comes to things like that, it's based on fuel. It may be also based on things that were in the way, a river, a railroad, because these are natural, rivers, natural fuel breaks, but then other things like roads, railroad tracks, so they're man-made fuel breaks.
Now, we do have rain and cooler temperatures moving into Minnesota as we head into the weekend. We'll check with our weather team in just a little while. Developing right now, a man in the United States illegally who was just charged in a deadly head-on collision where he was allegedly drunk is now out on bail. Herman Yangaria Inga posted bail on Tuesday evening. He was in court Monday facing vehicular homicide charges connected to the crash that happened last August. That's after Yangaria Inga was arrested again over the weekend and was being held on $100,000 bail. The White House is slamming Minneapolis and Hennepin County, saying that Immigration and Customs Enforcement had put an immigration detainer on Inga when the crash happened last year. However, the Hennepin County Jail did not honor it. The jail says ICE detainer holds that are not signed by a judge are not constitutional. A check of Wall Street as markets react to a new deal between the U.S. and China taking effect. That trade agreement between the two countries was announced Monday and went into effect at midnight. For 90 days, the U.S. is cutting tariffs on Chinese goods from a whopping 145% to 30%, while China is reducing a 125% tariff on American products to 10%. President Trump is also decreasing the tariff on small goods, impacting shipments from popular stores like Shein and Temu. Happening right now, President Trump is making the second stop of his Middle East tour in Qatar. The president taking some heat right now because he wants to accept a $400 million luxury jet from Qatar to be used as Air Force One. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle say there are some major national security concerns, as well as cost worries for outfitting the plane to be Air Force One. The president is visiting the Middle East on business and announced Qatar is expected to invest billions in the U.S. He also talked with reporters about ongoing peace talks between Ukraine and Russia and the possibility of Russian President Putin meeting face-to-face with Ukrainian President Zelensky.
I don't know if he's showing up. I know he would like me to be there, and that's a possibility. If we could end the war, I'd be thinking about that. That doesn't mean I wouldn't do it to save a lot of lives and come back. But yeah, I think they're thinking about something. I don't know that he would be there if I'm not there. We're going to find out.
The president will wrap up his Middle East trip tomorrow in the United Arab Emirates. Take a look at that. Some intense video today from Maryland showing raging floodwaters after days of intense rain. There was so much water in Westernport, it forced an elementary school to close for the day because of flash flooding. Dozens of students and teachers had to be rescued from the school by boat. Thankfully, everyone is okay. Now, right now, emergency crews are rolling through the town, clearing mud left over from the rising water from the streets. Well, this is only part of the severe weather that much of the country is bracing for this week. While many face flooding and evacuations on the East Coast, temperatures are soaring in the South with record heat in some areas. NBC's Ryan Chandler's in Dallas with more.
Hey there. Well, we know here in Texas we're no strangers to triple digits. That's just called summertime. But this is historically early. We're here in Dallas on one of the city's most popular running trails. These people are definitely smart for getting out early and beating the heat, because we could crack 100 degrees later this afternoon. Down in San Antonio, they could see 105. And on the border in Laredo, they could even see 110. The National Weather Service issuing extreme heat warnings for parts of Texas from the border up to San Antonio, urging people to take extra precautions because they say people just may not be acclimated to this extreme weather so early in the year. We also know local emergency services say they're stocking up on additional supplies in anticipation of more heat-related emergency calls. People from Texas, across the South, and through the plains bracing for this early season extreme heat. In Dallas, I'm Ryan Chandler, NBC News.
Today we're hearing from the family of Danielle Warren, who was killed in Burnsville. According to prosecutors, her partner, now charged with stabbing her, has a history of domestic violence. Here's Raya Katene.
Alice in Wonderland.
Vibrant drawings. Some of them are finished.
And then Alice in Wonderland as well.
Some are not.
Yep. Shouldn't get to the characters yet.
All as radiant as 32-year-old Danielle Warren herself.
She was an amazing, beautiful soul. Everyone loved my Danielle. Like, everyone loved her. She hung it on her wall.
A gifted artist, loving daughter, and big sister to Hannah Ryden.
We all love you so much and miss you and your beautiful soul.
Danielle lost her life last week in what prosecutors say was an intentional murder committed by her partner.
And that she did not deserve anything that happened to her whatsoever. I can't imagine life without her right now, but she was amazing. I want them to remember her by how she was as a mom and as a person.
Leaving behind 3 children, the youngest just 9 months old, Hannah says her sister was a nurturer at heart.
She was the type of person that cares about people more than she cares about herself, especially her kids.
The kids, now at the center of what motivates Hannah to keep moving forward after losing her best friend.
My oldest nephew told me, he said, "Happy Mother's Day, Auntie Hannah, since you're kind of like our mom now," and I literally started bawling my eyes out.
An online fundraiser will help support the family moving forward as messages of love and support pour in on this painting for Danielle and her children.
The whole community is signing this right now, and this has only been out here for 24 hours.
Hour by hour and day by day, Hannah says she'll learn to live without her sister constantly by her side.
It's gonna take a while, a long time probably.
But Danielle's radiant soul will live on.
We have a link to the online fundraiser under this story on KARE11.com. The Coalition to End Relationship Abuse, known as Violence Free Minnesota, says Danielle is the state's 6th confirmed victim of intimate partner homicide this year. If you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, there is help available. This is the number for the Minnesota Day 1 crisis line. It is free and you can call it 24/7. We have new details on another deadly shooting in Minneapolis. Police say this one happened on Lake Street near 17th Avenue South overnight. Investigators say around 1:50 this morning they were called to that area for gunshots. Arriving officers found a man in his 20s who had been shot. He was rushed to the hospital but died. No arrests have been made. The future of keys, yes, like house keys and car keys, is up for debate at the People's House. Well, it's been 2 years since the state legislature added strict lead limits. A joint conference committee is now deciding whether that law actually takes effect this summer as planned. Here's Ian Russell.
At this Golden Valley Ace Hardware, the shelves are stocked with just about anything you need.
We sold so many this weekend.
A key business for many.
I just remember to push hard.
And Dale Hoffman is just about used to the key business.
Busy day, we can make about 300.
Every day,
It's crazy.
the machine cuts and Dale buffs.
Pretty much tune out the sound. Most people do not like the sound of cutting keys.
A symphony of sound that might go silent soon.
We have too many other expenses and to just throw money away doesn't make sense.
Starting in July, the keys Dale sells here, the keys many hardware stores and locksmiths use, won't be legal to sell under Minnesota law. In 2023, the legislature passed a bill that limits the amount of lead that can be in keys. Dale says most keys have up to 2% lead, which makes them easier to cut. This law limits that to 0.009% by total weight.
I just think it's common sense. You're just going to extremes. I don't see the need for it.
And at the state capitol Tuesday,
we're here today with a simple but urgent message.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle agreed.
This shouldn't be a red or blue issue because this is impacting every Minnesotan.
Joined by business owners and more, they came together for the middle ground.
We shouldn't, and I'm going to use a pun, we shouldn't lock out common sense.
Coming together to stop us getting locked out of our everyday.
We have just 6 days until the end of this legislative session. Lawmakers have a chance to end on a bipartisan high note.
The Senate has a proposal to fix this and is now working with the House to include it in conference committee negotiations.
And we are the only government in the entire universe that has this outlawed. The only one in the universe. So if there was a store on the moon, you could buy keys at that store.
Back at Ace, Dale says they're already competing against bigger stores. And if someone can't buy keys here, they may never get them back.
You lose that customer, and once a person changes their habit, they're gone.
The Minnesota Pollution Control Agency has been taking more of a notice type of approach instead of a heavy-handed one. In a statement, they say there are already safer alternatives among keys and that 80% of vehicle and bicycle keys tested at random by the Department of Health were lead-free. But they also say, quote, the unnecessary use of lead in consumer products contributes to unnecessary public health problems. Stick with us. More news and weather is coming up after the break.